Good morning. Ready for the cat poses? Good morning, everyone. I learned to cover this up. Usually I put a lemon in there or a lime, and then they don't want any of it, but I don't have that at the moment, so let's cover it. Okay, so welcome to the, what way we say? The 5th holiday in 6 days. What I'm calling the holiday is Giving Tuesday. We had Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, now Giving Tuesday. Bookended between Thanksgiving, gratitude, and Giving Tuesday, generosity, is a sales cycle. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just that it's an interesting reflection on our society right now. Let me just check something with one of these kitties. Hey, hey. What are your designs on that right there? Okay. That would not be a good thing to do right now. Okay, so we're going to practice equanimity, which I had a big opportunity for yesterday because our website, the DAYA Foundation website, went down on the eve of Giving Tuesday, and we are the primary support for Brighton Bush Hot Springs. So, oh, it's also Hanukkah. Yes, thank you, Carol. Yeah. So I had to practice taking action, right? Do the due diligence, make the efforts, make the phone calls, try to get on the website and solve the situation. I was not successful. So our website currently includes no active links to what we're doing for Brighton Bush Hot Springs. That was really hard because I feel such a sort of sacred responsibility to help. So I was sending links to Brighton Bush to update their newsletter, and I was trying to get information out to all of you with appropriate links. The donation portal is live, and that link is working. That link is separate from our website. It's behind the website, so that one didn't get disturbed. But currently, Tara's working on it because our website software company opens at 7 a.m. So that's what she's doing for her yoga this morning. And I had to practice, as I was saying, equanimity, to the fullest extent. You do what you need to try to meet the goals or the aims or the outcome. And then you have to surrender, because at that point it was beyond my hands and beyond my knowledge, beyond my capacity. So equanimity in action, in other words. Yeah. So let's take that teaching of equanimity and see where it applies to your lives as well, because each of us will face something where equanimity would be the wise response. Hi. Yeah, that's my water glass under there. Please take a comfortable seat and we will begin. You find yourself settling in, lengthen up through your spine and consider the inner attitude that we began Thanksgiving with, an inner attitude of gratitude, an inner attitude of really respecting this particular season, the season where Hanukkah comes and we're celebrating the light. And then also today, this opportunity to remember the practice of generosity. And perhaps one or all of those internal attitudes will bolster or support your intention for equanimity with whatever you're facing. Begin to deepen the breath. Let's take the arms out to the side, turn your palms face out. And inhale as the breath slowly rises up. Raise your arms. Match that to the top of the inhalation. And then exhale, hands to your heart. And we'll chant Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahana Vavatu. Sahano Bhunaktu. Savidyam Karavavai. Tejasvina Varitamastu. Ma Vidveshavai. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahano Bhunaktu. Savidyam Karavavai. Tejasvina Varitamastu. Ma Vidveshavai. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahano Bhunaktu. Savidyam Karavavai. Tejasvina Varitamastu. Ma Vidveshavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart and release your hands. Please open your eyes. So as with yesterday, we're going to proceed to open up the body to receive the pranayama practices more easily, more beautifully. So I'd like you to have 2 blocks to start the practice. You can put your blanket aside if you won't need that promptly. Hello. Yeah, perfect. Good location. So 2 blocks, let's put 1 block on the flat setting for the shoulder blades and 1 block on the medium setting for your heart. Let's scooch this so I don't knock it over. Now, when you lie back, place the shoulder blades directly on the first block so that the bottom corners of the shoulder blades are at the bottom edge of the block. And then place your head on the second block. Check that you've got room for a kind of snow angel experience to the best of your ability there. And then let's inhale, raise the arms straight up towards the ceiling. Turn your palms to face each other. And exhale, both arms overhead. With your palms facing one another, hook the thumbs. And aim the hands like an arrow as we've been doing. And with your thumbs hooked, lengthen the arms and the hips away from each other. You could even pick up the hips and scoot them a little bit away from the heart. You could make the inhale a very deliberate first third, middle third, upper third. And then exhale, sweep your arms out like a snow angel, just down to the letter T. Inhale, first third, middle third, upper third of the breath. And then exhale continuously. A sense that the exhale is moving from the base upwards, but without any sense of having to interrupt it. Nor are we interrupting the inhale. Just be deliberate. One more time, inhale first, middle, and then the upper third of the breath. Reach the breath up into your collarbones. And then exhale smoothly and continuously. Good. Inhale, raise your arms back up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, roll up to sit. And take the block for the shoulder blades, raise it up. Take the block for the head, raise it up also. And then lie back. So when you're reaching back, you now have your head higher. If your arms reach the floor on the last go, we don't have that expectation this time. So let's just check you've still got your space. And then with an inhalation, raise your arms up towards the ceiling, palms facing the center. Exhale, arms overhead. Hook your thumbs the opposite way this time. Turn your palms to face each other. And as you elongate the arms, also scoot your hips away from your heart. And practice bringing the breath in deliberately. First third is the pelvis, mid third, mid torso, upper third, up to the heart, the collarbones, even your shoulder blades. And then exhale from the pelvic floor inwards and upwards along the front of your spine. And then exhale the arms out into a T shape. Now, as you rest the back of your hands and the back of your wrists on the floor, press the shoulders down and see if maybe the back of your elbows also reach the ground. If you have long arms, it may not be much of a reach for you, but if you've got shorter arms, you may have to make the effort. And then inhale first, middle and upper. Begin your exhale at the pelvic floor and roll the tone of the exhale upwards along the front of your spine. And then inhale, raise both arms. And exhale, rise up to sit. Okay, so that should give you a sense of where your upper back is, what's happening with the thoracic spine this morning. Let's put these guys aside and please take a seat. Now, we've been practicing a particular pose we call Kurma Mudra, where you put your fists into the belly and then you fold forward. And that folding forward, you've been placing your head on a block. There's a second form of that where you have your hands at the small of your back. And when you're coming forward, your head is going to touch the floor. In my case, it's going to reach to a block because I can't reach the floor just yet. I don't know if I'll have that capacity return with my hip replacement. Maybe I will. Yeah, I'll definitely use a block this morning. Okay, so we're going to first do a little bit of Kriya to move the breath residue out, whatever that residue is from sleep. And then we'll practice this exhale suction, as I've been calling it. And that term refers to the moment after you've exhaled completely and there's no in-breath coming in. And I'll say that again when we get to this position here. Okay, bring your attention to the abdomen. Exhale completely. Inhale to suspension. Exhale and bow forward, hands on your knees or on the floor. Squeeze the breath out. Inhale, rise up to sitting. And then exhale to relax. Listen for the hints of gratitude or equanimity or generosity. Now Kapalabhati. Exhale completely. Inhale to suspension. Exhale and bow forward. Come slowly over so that you're squeezing the exhale out by closing the torso. And inhale, rise up. And deeply relax. I'd like you to combine something now that I have confidence in you to do. We're going to inhale the first third and then pause. Inhale middle third, pause. Inhale upper third, pause. And then for the exhale, we're going to bow forward and squeeze the breath out. And we'll come down to a little exhale pause, but not a suspension and not the suction, just a little pause. And then we'll inhale to rise back up to sit. And we'll take a little break and then we'll do it again. Okay, so sometimes it's helpful to put one hand and to know that you're going to move one hand. It's not required to do it that way, but you could consider it that way, that you're kind of keeping track for yourself, but you're also inviting a somatic experience of where is the breath expanding. And you are stretching the inner body with the breath here. Let's begin with inhale, first third for 3 counts, and then pause for 3 counts. Inhale, middle third for 3 counts, and then pause for 3 counts. Inhale, upper third for 3 counts, And then pause for 3 counts. And exhale for 9, 12, or 15 on the way down. You're going to squeeze the breath out. And when your head has full support, then just enjoy the exhale pause for about 3 counts. And then inhale smoothly to rise back up to your seat. And when you come up to your seat, then relax right there and just see how things feel. We're going to repeat that twice more. So beginning when you're ready to. One round, you can then deeply relax during the exhale that's between those rounds, and then repeat when you're ready to. Deeply relax before we explore this exhale pause that becomes exhale suction. Place your hands at the small of your back, which means that you won't have your hands to help you on going forward. And therefore, the inner abdomen is going to be even more necessary, so that when you come down, you're going to exhale completely. And then while we're down here, we will have squeezed out the breath using exhale muscles. And we totally relax those exhale muscles. Without inhaling, there's going to be a suction inside the body. And then you recalibrate that suction before you inhale to come back up. Let's inhale while we're upright. And then exhale, come forward. Your own timing, you'll be inhaling to come upright sooner than me or after me. And then if you're experienced with this, you can do 3 more in sequence, consecutive. If you're learning it, just try 2 more with a break between them. yourself to deeply relax when you complete those. Encourage your mind to be very much at ease. Perhaps with hints of gratitude, equanimity, generosity. Let's put the blanket aside. Please come over to kneeling. So what you are learning there, excuse me, is a kind of increasing comfort with the exhale suspension, the exhale being held out. That is not a full Uddiyana Bandha, what we were just doing, and nor is what we're going to do right now, the full experience of Uddiyana Bandha. But I would like you to check and see if this is now more comfortable having been there. So let's place the fists in the inguinal groove. You're going to be coming over where your head has support. Again, we'll have the exhale suction. The exhale is held out. The inner body has the suction, and then we'll inhale to come up. If you're experienced, go ahead and do 3 consecutively. If you're learning it, do 2 with a pause in between. If you're very experienced, you can try making the inhale, the exhale, and the suction equal. So like 10, 10, and 10. That would require another layer of concentration and capacity. You come up from the last one, then you can again rest and see if there is a hint of the evenness of the mind and the heart. Please bring your 2 blocks and come up to standing. Take a wide stance. Walk your blocks out in front of you so your hands are going to be elevated and the arms are outstretched. Energize your legs, and as you press down from your hips to your heels, also energize from your feet back up to your hips. You're going to take the left hand and go under your right arm, reach towards your right leg. You might reach towards your foot, you might reach towards your leg. Maybe you're reaching towards the toe because you can't quite reach anything else. As you twist your upper body to the right, keep the right arm stable. Breathe in smoothly. And breathe out smoothly. Now, without any suction or long pauses, just allow the natural inhale pause and the natural exhale pause. And then inhale, return your left hand to its block and take your right hand under. Traditionally, we might deepen a twist during the exhale, but you can also broaden the back body during the inhale, giving a sense of how the twist massages the back body on inhalation and massages the inner body on exhalation. And then exhale, return your right hand to its block. Inhale, come forward so the hands are like plank pose, and then step your feet back into plank pose. And then inhale, reach high into your downward facing dog pose with your hands on your blocks. And exhale, step forward, awkward foot, other foot, rise up to mountain pose, and then let's prepare for Surya Namaskar. So we're going to turn sideways. And I am enjoying giving you this chance to stretch your psoas and your hip flexors. So let's take the two blankets and place them on the mat. I have to get the lumps out of mine. So two blankets to elevate the knee when you step back into Anjaneyasana Asana. And then step forward over your blanket hurdle. Please join your hands together at your heart. Now we've been cultivating this Ujjayi breath, so let's keep it really smooth and simple. And if possible, you can balance your inhale with your exhale. Think of the most subtle form of the breath, not the most dynamic. Let's begin. Float down to Uttanasana. You're squeezing the breath out. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Again, making the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath. So that's going to be a deeper concentration. Exhale to Uttanasana. Once more, glide forward. And then exhale, left toes back and left knee down. Exhale, squeeze the breath out as you close your torso over your right leg. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, setting up for seal pose. And inhale, seal pose. Exhale, plank pose. Keeping the breath subtle, inhale, reach back, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, left foot forward. Inhale to rise. Follow your exhale, closing the pose, squeezing the breath out. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward dog pose. Taking an equal inhale and exhale, come to plank. And then step into the structure of seal pose. Inhale up to seal pose. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, stepping forward. Inhale, rise up. Keeping the exhale equal, come into Anjali Mudra. Continuing. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, simple Uttanasana. Squeeze the breath out. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, left toes back and left knee down. Inhale, rise up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, squeeze the breath out. Now touch the blocks with your fingertips this time. Inhale, straighten both legs. Bring the heart forward. Exhale, pivot your back heel. Inhale, Trikonasana. Exhale, left arm past your left ear as you come down. And then deeply bend your right leg. And exhale, bow over the right leg. You can walk your fingertips forward now, and we're going to stay a little bit. This is sometimes called the humble warrior pose. Let's aim to keep the breath smooth. You are temporarily compressing the right hip joint. Energize your back leg and your back heel. Now placing your hands on your blocks. When you inhale, I'd like you to pick up the left heel and the right foot. And then exhale, step back to plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, plank, keeping the breath even. Inhale, seal pose, coming right through. Exhale, plank pose. And then inhale, downward facing dog. Okay, exhale, left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale to rise. Remember, the upper third of the breath is still there. Exhale, descend. Bring your fingertips to the blocks. And inhale, straighten both legs. And exhale, pivot your back heel. Keep the front leg stable when you do that. And inhale, right arm past your ear, rise up, triangle pose. And exhale, sweep your right arm past your ear and come down. Now deeply bend your front leg and walk your fingers forward, humble warrior pose. You can feel into the evenness of the breath. You are adding compression to the left hip. It's momentary. Strengthen your right leg and reach back into your right heel. And place your hands on your blocks. Now, as an inhale comes, I'd like you to pick up your right heel and your left foot. And then exhale, step back to plank. Inhale, downward dog. Exhale, plank. Inhale, seal pose. Exhale, plank. And inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, step over your blanket hurdle and come to Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And the full length of the exhale to come down to Anjali Mudra. Stand really still in your mountain pose so that there's a sense of the physical equanimity. We're going to combine a couple of those poses. So when you step with your back leg down to Anjali Asana, and we had that kind of humble warrior pose, let's put the right foot forward, left knee down to Anjali Asana, and then come to the inside edge of your right leg. And some of you are going to find that it's comfortable to put your elbows on your blocks. Others will find that the elbows go to the floor. That's not my experience with a hip replacement, but for some people it is. Some like to stretch the arms forward. It feels like nice to have the extension that also has a sort of dramatic feel to it. You're welcome to make those choices for yourself. Let's keep the right knee snugged in towards the right shoulder, please. And encourage the left hip and the left hip flexors to soften towards the floor, but not that you're hammocking your pelvis towards the floor. So keep some tone in your left hip socket. Even the back of the left hip should feel toned right now. While keeping your pose stable, begin to bend your left heel up towards the ceiling. So your butt should not push up and the hips are not backing up. So when you raise your left foot, you're using your hamstring and your glutes to do that. You can point the toes straight up. And for some, you're going to reach back and hold the left toes with your right fingers. And if you were laying storm pipe in your garden and digging holes, you're going to feel that in your quadriceps. Okay, let's exhale, release the left foot back down. Now go ahead and place your hands again. And I'd like you to put the hands so that they are both inside your right foot and yet they're going to be shoulder width apart. Straighten the left leg like you're going to step into plank pose. And then exhale, pick up your right toes. This time your right knee's on the outside of your right arm. And step it back to plank. Okay, touch the knees down, walk the blocks to your right and step the left foot forward. So it's coming into Anjaneyasana. And then you may come down to your elbows. You might walk your hands forward. You might put your blocks down for your elbows. You may not need those. Let's hug the left knee in towards the left shoulder. And as you encourage your hips, your right hip to kind of soften towards the floor, keep some tone inside your right hip joint. So the right butt is actually engaged right now. It should not feel like it's in Shavasana. You can use the right hamstring and the right glutes to pick up your right heel. Point the toes of the right foot up and reach back to hold your right toes with your left hand if you can find them. It's funny that I can't find my toes. Normally I don't have that struggle. Digging a storm pipe makes the quadriceps more limited. I was able to find it by coming up onto my hand, so you could make that choice too if you prefer. There's the quadriceps. Okay. And then when you're ready to, you can release your right foot down, and let's place the hands back on the two blocks, set them up so that you're already established for plank pose. Straighten the right leg behind you, and then pick up your left foot. You can keep the left knee against the left arm. And step back to plank pose. And this time, knees down and back to child's pose. And for this child's pose, we have the knees elevated. Let's bring a block in for the head. Touch your elbows to the floor, perhaps in front of your blankets. And deeply relax the belly, especially right above the pubic bone. Place your hands on your knees and press yourself up to kneeling. Okay, I hope you had some fun there. I hope you smiled at yourself. I hope you smiled at me. Yeah. Okay, let's come up to stand. I would like you to have 4 blocks nearby. Go ahead and get those ready. Come up to horse stance, please, for Uddiyana Bandha. So horse stance is a little bit wider than your mountain pose. It's a little bit, maybe as wide as your yoga mat, your regular yoga mat, not the one that I'm standing on. Place the hands. Remember that this is contraindicated if you're having your menstrual cycle, or of course, if you're pregnant. Also remember that for those of you who are experienced, you can try moving the hips about when you're in the bandha, and you might feel into the inner belly through there. For those who are experienced, you may not need a pause between bandhas. For those who are learning, having a break between the practice is helpful. So if you're experienced, go ahead and do 4 times. If you're learning, try 2 or 3 with breaks in between. Begin with a full inhale. Don't practice any part of this into a state of breathlessness. So you're pacing how long the breath is and how long the suspension is as well. When you complete, rise up to stand and come into mountain pose. You might feel like your head is a little bit swimmy, but if you can find the inner stillness or the plumb line where there is a felt sense of gratitude or generosity or equanimity. Please come down to kneeling with your 4 blocks. So Uddiyana Bandha means flying upwards. Uddiyana is flying upwards. And that flying upwards is to encourage the movement of prana, this sort of kundalini energy we call it, from the base up through the chakras towards the crown. Now we're going to put some weight on the crown. And this is called a simulated headstand or a supported headstand. And we're just doing the part where you raise up to have weight on your head. We're on Zoom. I can't see you all 100%. I don't know what's behind you if you should fall over. So we're doing the part where you get to have some weight bearing on the head, but we aren't like going all the way up with both legs. Of course, if you are and I can't see you, then you enjoy. So you place the hands in front of the blocks. The head goes between the 2 blocks, and this seam on the blocks is stacked. That's smooth. So there's more space on the outside of the bottom block and no space on the inside because these are flush. And then place your head. Put your shoulders in the centers of those 2 blocks. Press your palms down. Hug the elbows in and press the top of your head down. And as you press the top of your head and your hands down, you could consider raising one leg. Keeping the top of the head down and the breath smooth, you could hover the toes of the 2nd foot off the floor. If that causes a big sense of calamity, then please don't do it. Keeping the top of your head grounded, let's put both feet back on the floor. If you raised one leg, you can now explore raising the opposite leg. And you may also float the opposite toes off the floor. Keep the top of the head grounded. So you're actively pressing the crown of the skull down. And then place the feet back on the floor. Back your toes up so you can walk back down to kneeling with your hips and your shins, and then come into child's pose. And then to Vajrasana. Come up to Vajrasana and notice the influence of having had the crown of your skull on the floor. In these 4 blocks as they are, please reach for your yoga strap. Make it a loop. We're going to do one pose in closing before Shavasana. So these blocks now are going to go in the middle because you're going to have your feet on those blocks and you want them to be stable. So lie on your back with your feet up on the 2 blocks. When you press on these blocks, there's 2 blocks for each foot. You're going to end up stabilizing the blocks with the pressure of your feet. So just keeping that in mind, if they're a little bit unstable now, make them stable so you'll know it's going to be trustworthy. Put your strap where you can reach it. And then roll up just partway to bridge pose. Put your wrists into your strap, tuck the shoulders, and then you could go up to your high bridge pose. This is like a preparatory pose for things like shoulder stand. Also like plow pose. But on its own, bridge pose is a very effective pose. So let's keep the hips and the hamstrings strong. Press into your heels. Make the arms firm, shoulders grounded. Raise your heart up and take your gaze down towards the heart. And then exhale and lower your hips down, making an arch in the spine on the way down. See if your hips could sit on the yoga strap. Use your feet to move the blocks. Stretch the legs out straight. Press into your elbows and come into fish pose, Matsyendrasana. And then exhale, lower down to the back of your head and watching out for hair clips. And please come to Shavasana. Yeah, watch out for pokey hair clips. Come down to rest. Let the practice be deep medicine for you. Observe your body from the inside, recalibrating the flow of prana, the circulation, the fluids of the body. Let yourself deeply rest at the level of the mind. Just observing what is happening right now inside. your body to be deeply still. Know that it's working out the medicine inside. Allow your mind to also be very still. No need even to comment on the experience. Yourself to rest right here in the present. The mind isn't even daydreaming. The stillness to go a little deeper over the next minute. Let it become more and more penetrating for the body and the mind. And lightly wiggle your toes. Let that come up to your calves, your knees and thighs. Bend one knee at a time. Wiggle the fingers, bend your elbows. Roll to your side. Turn to your seat. Right. Stable seat. This is the, we call the crowning jewel of your practice, is the meditation here. And let's see to what extent it might be natural for your mind to be still in meditation. As if you were a candle flame and you're in the center of the flame. your mind, on the stillness of the mind. Rest your attention there. Even if there's some other mental noise or static. Keeping that inwardness, the stillness that you're steeping in, becomes a resource and anchor for you as the day unfolds. Raise your hands to your heart. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.